There is a question that lingers in the quiet corners of your mind, a question you may never have spoken aloud, but one you have felt in every heartbeat, in every restless night. Why? Why do they never leave your thoughts? Even after days, months, or years, does their presence still echo in your mind like a song you cannot forget? You wake up in the morning, and there they are, in the back of your consciousness, like a shadow that follows you no matter where you go. You distract yourself with work, with noise, with endless scrolling, yet in moments of stillness, when the world becomes silent, their image rises. Like smoke curling upward from an unseen fire, they appear, softly, mysteriously, persistently. You tell yourself it's simple. You tell yourself it's attraction, maybe nostalgia, or perhaps fate. You build stories to explain it. It's because of what happened between us. It's because they were special. It's because I cannot move on. But if you listen carefully, beneath all those rationalizations, beneath all the excuses, you will hear something else. Something deeper. A whisper that says, this is not about them. This is about you. That whisper is the voice of your unconscious. And that is where our journey begins. We are going to explore a truth most people will never discover, a truth Carl Jung devoted his life to understanding. Jung believed that the people who stay in your mind do not stay there by accident. They are not there because of fate, nor because the universe is playing games with you. They are there because they carry something you have lost, or something you refuse to see. They are not just people. They are symbols, mirrors reflecting the deepest layers of your psyche. And every time you think of them, every time your thoughts circle back like a tide returning to shore, you are not thinking of them. You are thinking of a piece of yourself, a piece that is calling you back. That is what this video is about. It is not about tricks. It is not about manipulation. It is not about making them love you or making them miss you. No. This is about something far greater, something that lies at the very foundation of your soul. This is about depth, the hidden architecture of the human mind. This is about you. We will answer questions you have felt but never dared to ask. Why does this one person feel magnetic to you? Why does their presence, or even their absence, have such power over your thoughts? And most importantly, what does this reveal about who you really are? Because here is the truth. When someone lingers in your mind, they are carrying something for you. They hold a key to a locked door in your soul. And until you turn that key, until you open that door, your mind will return to them again and again, not because of who they are, but because of what they represent. Think about that for a moment. If you have ever been haunted by someone's memory, if you have ever carried a name like a secret weight in your chest, if you have ever found yourself searching their face in the crowd, hoping to see them again, only to ask yourself later, why do I care so much? Then this journey is for you. And let me tell you this, there is nothing wrong with you for feeling this way. This is not weakness. It is not obsession in the shallow sense. It is the unconscious trying to speak. It is your own psyche reaching out, saying, pay attention. There is something here you must see. There is something here you must reclaim. But now, you have entered a different space. A slower space. A space where time stretches out like an endless horizon. A space where your thoughts, like brushstrokes on a canvas, begin to reveal the hidden portrait of your mind. By the end of this video, you may realize something profound. You may realize that the person you cannot stop thinking about was never the point. The obsession was never about them at all. It was always about you. About the part of yourself that you abandoned, the part you rejected, the part you forgot you even had. And when you understand that, when you finally see what they were reflecting, you will no longer chase the image. You will no longer cling to the shadow. You will begin the greatest journey a human being can take, the journey back to wholeness. So, are you ready? Why does this happen to you? Why does a single person, out of billions, take root in your mind so deeply, so completely, that no matter how much you try to push them away, they return? You tell yourself it is because they were special, that you had a connection, that destiny placed them in your life for a reason. These are the stories we tell ourselves, the myths we create to make sense of the strange power they hold over us. But Carl Jung would tell you something different. He would say, this is not about them. This is about you. The person who lives in your mind is not there by chance. They are there because they carry something of yours, something you lost long ago, or something you buried so deeply in the unconscious that you forgot it was ever a part of you. This is what Jung called projection. And if you do not understand projection, you will spend your life chasing shadows, believing that other people hold the key to your happiness, when in truth, the key has always been inside you. What is projection? It is one of the most mysterious and powerful processes in the human psyche. Projection is when you take something from your own inner world, an emotion, a quality, a potential, and you place it onto another person. You do not see them as they truly are. You see your own reflection in them. You see your own soul, disguised as someone else. This is why the obsession feels so overwhelming. Because deep down, you are not longing for them. You are longing for yourself. Think about the person you cannot stop thinking about. What is it about them that captivates you? Is it their confidence, their freedom, their beauty, their mystery? Whatever it is, know this, that quality belongs to you. It is inside you. But for some reason, perhaps because of childhood conditioning, perhaps because of cultural expectations, you pushed it away. You said, this cannot be me. So you buried it in the unconscious. And the unconscious, being what it is, does not remain silent forever. It calls out. It seeks expression. And the easiest way for it to do that is by making you see that quality in another person. You look at them and you feel drawn, not because of who they truly are, but because they are carrying your lost treasure. Jung once said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But the same is true for everything that fascinates us about others. Every person who feels magnetic to you is a messenger from your own unconscious. They are saying, here is a part of you that you have forgotten. Here is something you need to reclaim. Imagine a man named Daniel. Daniel grew up in a strict household where creativity was seen as a waste of time. His parents valued discipline, logic, and practicality. So Daniel learned to suppress his artistic side. He became serious, efficient, and responsible. Years later, Daniel meets a woman named Elena. Elena is everything Daniel is not: spontaneous, artistic, full of life. She paints, she dances, she laughs at things Daniel would never find funny. From the moment he meets her, Daniel is captivated. He cannot stop thinking about her. He believes it is love, but it is not love, not yet. It is projection. Daniel has fallen in love with his own soul, with the part of himself he buried as a child. Elena carries Daniel's forgotten creativity. She embodies the life force he denied within himself. And until Daniel reclaims that part of him, Elena will haunt his thoughts. Do you see the pattern? It is not about Elena. It is about Daniel's wholeness. And what about you? Who is the person you cannot stop thinking about? What do they represent? What is the quality that draws you to them again and again? That is the question you must ask, not why can't I stop thinking about them, but what part of me have I projected onto them? Here is the tragedy. Most people never realize this. They believe the obsession means this person is the one. They believe it is fate. And so they chase, and they cling, and they suffer, because they do not understand that what they truly seek is inside themselves. This is why relationships built on projection often collapse. Because when the illusion fades, when you finally see the other person for who they really are, and not who you imagined them to be, the magic disappears. And you are left wondering what happened. But if you have the courage to look inward, something extraordinary happens. You realize that the longing was never for the other person. It was for the part of you that you abandoned. This is the essence of Jung's teaching. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. The people who occupy your mind are not random. They are messengers. They are the carriers of what you have lost. They are the mirrors that show you what you have denied. And now, you stand at a crossroads. Will you continue to chase the mirror, or will you begin the journey to reclaim what is yours? Because here is the truth. The obsession is not a curse. It is an invitation to become whole. And this is only the beginning. In the next part, we will go deeper. We will explore the exact reasons Jung believed certain people feel magnetic to us, the anima and animus, the shadow, and the archetypes that live within every soul. And as you listen, you may discover that the person who has been haunting your mind was never just a person, but a symbol of everything you were meant to become. Why does this person feel so magnetic to you? Why do they hold such power over your thoughts, even when you have tried everything to let them go? Carl Jung believed the answer lies in the very structure of the psyche. He believed that the unconscious is not empty, but alive with forces, patterns, and images that shape your entire life without your awareness. These forces, he said, are not merely personal. They are universal. They are what he called the archetypes, the ancient, timeless patterns that live in every human soul. When someone captures your mind completely, when their presence feels almost mythical, it is often because they have awakened one of these archetypes within you. And when that happens, you are no longer dealing with just an individual. You are dealing with something far bigger, something that belongs to the deepest layers of the human experience. This is why the feeling is so overwhelming, why it feels as though you have stepped into a dream you cannot wake from. One of the most powerful ways this happens is through what Jung called the anima and the animus. If you are a man, the anima is the feminine aspect of your soul. If you are a woman, the animus is the masculine aspect of yours. These are not simply gendered traits, they are psychic energies. The anima represents qualities like feeling, intuition, creativity, the mystery of life. The animus represents logic, strength, purpose, and the capacity to act in the world. These energies live within you, whether you recognize them or not. But if you have ignored them, if you have neglected this inner counterpart, it does not vanish. It waits. It waits for the right moment to emerge. And often, that moment comes when you meet someone who embodies what you lack, someone who mirrors the side of you that you have not yet integrated. This is why a man may find himself completely consumed by a woman who seems mysterious, soulful, full of life in a way he has never known. He thinks he is falling in love with her, but what is really happening is that his own anima, his own neglected soul, is calling to him through her image. And this is why a woman might feel irresistibly drawn to a man who appears strong, decisive, and deeply grounded, because her animus, the part of her that longs for inner authority, sees itself in him. But here is the paradox. The more you project these qualities outward, the more powerless you become. Because as long as you believe that these qualities live only in the other person, you will chase them endlessly. You will feel incomplete without them. You will turn them into an idol. And in doing so, you lose yourself. Jung warned about this very thing. He said that when we fall under the spell of projection, we are no longer relating to the other person as they truly are. We are relating to an inner figure, an image drawn from the depths of our own unconscious. This is why these fixations feel so intense, so dreamlike. They are not rooted in reality. They are rooted in something archetypal, something vast and ancient. And what happens when the illusion breaks? When you begin to see the person not as the god or goddess you imagined, but as a flawed human being like yourself. Often, the spell shatters. Disappointment sets in. And you may ask yourself, how could I have been so blind? How could I have been so consumed? The answer is simple, because you were never just looking at them. You were looking at the unclaimed parts of your own soul. Now, there is another layer to this, a darker layer. Jung called it the shadow. The shadow is everything in you that you have rejected, everything you have deemed unacceptable or shameful. It contains not only your weaknesses and fears, but also your strengths, your passions, your desires, your raw vitality. And when you repress these aspects of yourself, they do not disappear. They wait in silence. They live in the darkness of the unconscious, shaping your life from behind the scenes. When someone walks into your life and carries the qualities you have exiled, something powerful happens. Your shadow stirs. You feel drawn to them, sometimes with an intensity that borders on madness. You tell yourself it is because they are special, but in truth, they are holding a part of you that you have abandoned. This is why you might find yourself obsessing over someone who is confident when you are not, someone bold when you are timid, someone free when you feel trapped. They are not magic. They are a mirror. They are reflecting your own unlived life. And until you claim those qualities as your own, you will remain chained to the illusion that they are the source of your completeness. Think about this carefully. Who is it that you cannot stop thinking about? What is it about them that captures you? Is it their strength, their freedom, their depth? Whatever it is, ask yourself this: where does this quality live in me? Why did I bury it? And what would happen if I allowed it to rise again? Because here is the truth: every obsession is a message. Every fixation is a signpost pointing inward. The unconscious is saying, look here. This is what you need. This is what you have lost. And if you ignore the message, you will suffer. You will cling to the person, thinking they are your salvation. But if you listen, if you dare to turn inward, something miraculous happens. You realize that the treasure you sought was never out there. It was always within you. And this is the essence of Jung's work: wholeness, individuation, the journey of becoming complete by integrating all the parts of yourself, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, the known and the unknown. The people who haunt your thoughts are not enemies. They are not curses. They are guides. They are carrying something for you, something you were always meant to reclaim. And now, the question becomes, will you continue to chase the image? Or will you begin the real journey, the journey back to yourself? In the next part, we will go even deeper, because the person who lives in your mind was never the destination. This is why the obsession feels so overwhelming, because deep down, you are not longing for them. You are longing for yourself. Think about the person you cannot stop thinking about. What is it about them that captivates you? Is it their confidence, their freedom, their beauty, their mystery? Whatever it is, know this: that quality belongs to you. It is inside you. But for some reason, perhaps because of childhood conditioning, perhaps because of cultural expectations, you pushed it away. You said, this cannot be me. So you buried it in the unconscious. And the unconscious, being what it is, does not remain silent forever. It calls out. It seeks expression. And the easiest way for it to do that is by making you see that quality in another person. You look at them and you feel drawn, not because of who they truly are, but because they are carrying your lost treasure. Every time this happens, the mind creates a powerful illusion. You believe they are special. You believe they hold something magical that no one else does. But in truth, it is your own unlived life that you are seeing reflected back at you. Imagine this for a moment. Think of someone who consumes your thoughts. What exactly about them fascinates you? Write it down in your mind. Is it their boldness, their calmness, their mystery, their laughter? Whatever you name, pause and realize this is a map pointing not toward them, but toward you, toward the parts of your own soul you have forgotten. Carl Jung said it beautifully. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But it is not just irritation. Everything that enchants us, everything that draws us like a moth to a flame, carries the same message. This is you. This is the part of you you have not yet embraced. So ask yourself, what have I projected onto this person? What qualities live in them that I have disowned in myself? Because until you reclaim those qualities, you will feel incomplete. You will believe that you need them to feel whole, when in reality, you only need to return to yourself. Now, this brings us to something even deeper. Why does this projection feel so powerful, so uncontrollable? Jung believed it is because of the archetypes, the ancient patterns that live within every human psyche. These are not random traits. They are universal images that have shaped human experience since the beginning of time. When you meet someone who embodies an archetype that your soul longs for, the attraction feels larger than life. It feels sacred. It feels fated. For a man, this often happens through what Jung called the anima, the inner feminine within his psyche. If he has denied his feelings, his intuition, his creativity, he will project these qualities onto a woman who carries them. He will feel as though she is the key to his soul, when in truth, she is only the reflection of what his soul has hidden away. For a woman, this occurs through the animus, the inner masculine within her. If she has denied her strength, her reason, her authority, she will project these qualities onto a man who seems powerful and decisive. She will feel as though he completes her, when in truth, he is showing her the parts of herself she has neglected. Do you see the pattern? The people who haunt you are not random. They are living mirrors of the unlived life inside you. But this is not where it ends. There is another force at play, one that makes this obsession even stronger. It is the shadow. The shadow is everything you have rejected, everything you have hidden, everything you were told was not acceptable. It contains your weaknesses and your fears, but also your wildness, your creativity, your primal energy, and even your capacity for greatness. Most of us fear the shadow. We bury it. We pretend it does not exist. But when you repress something, it does not disappear. It goes underground. And from that dark place, it begins to shape your life in secret ways. Sometimes, it surfaces when you meet someone who carries your shadow for you. Suddenly, you are drawn to them with an intensity that defies logic. You feel alive in their presence. You cannot stop thinking about them. Why? Because they are holding something you lost. They are living out the part of you that you have kept locked away. And until you reclaim it, they will have power over you. Take a moment and reflect. Who is this person for you? What do they represent? What part of you have they awakened? Sit with that question, because the answer is the doorway to your freedom. The tragedy is that most people never see this. They remain trapped in the illusion. They believe that if only they could be with that person, everything would make sense. They believe it is destiny. They believe it is love. But Jung warned us, as long as you are under the spell of projection, you are not loving the person, you are loving your own soul in disguise. And here is the danger. When the illusion fades, when you finally see the other person for who they really are, the magic breaks. You feel betrayed. You feel lost. You ask, how could I have been so blind? But the truth is, you were never seeing them clearly. You were seeing an inner image, a reflection of the unconscious. This is why so many relationships fail, not because people are evil or cruel, but because we expect them to carry the weight of our unlived life. We turn them into gods and goddesses, and then we are shocked when they turn out to be human. So what is the way out of this? Jung gives us the answer. You must make the unconscious conscious. You must stop chasing the projection and start reclaiming what it represents. You must take back what you have given away. And this is not easy work. It requires honesty. It requires courage. It requires you to ask, what is it in me that I have abandoned? What am I longing for that I think they can give me? And how can I begin to give that to myself? When you do this, something extraordinary happens. The obsession loses its power. The spell breaks, not because you force yourself to forget, but because you no longer need the mirror. You have taken back your own reflection. You have come home to yourself. And then, love becomes possible. Real love, not projection, not illusion, but love that sees the other person as they truly are, without the weight of your. You may have noticed something strange about these thoughts. They are not just frequent, they are relentless. They circle back no matter what you do. You distract yourself, you fill your day with work, with conversations, with noise, but in quiet moments, they return. In the middle of the night, when the world is silent, they are there again, almost like a dream that refuses to end. Why does this happen? Why does your mind hold on so tightly? The answer lies in the nature of the unconscious. Jung believed that the unconscious does not speak in words. It speaks in symbols, in images, in feelings that will not let you go. And when the unconscious wants to tell you something important, it does not whisper once and then disappear. It repeats the message. It sends it again and again, until you listen. So every time this person returns to your mind, every time your thoughts circle back to them like a river returning to the sea, it is not an accident. It is a signal. It is your psyche saying, pay attention. There is something here you have not faced. There is something here you need to see. Most people misunderstand this signal. They believe the repetition means destiny. They believe it means that the universe wants them to be with this person. And so they cling to the illusion because it feels comforting. But the truth is harder and far more liberating. The repetition does not mean you are destined for them. It means you are destined for yourself. It means there is something in you, something you have ignored for too long, and now it demands to be seen. This is why you cannot think your way out of obsession. You cannot simply tell yourself to stop, because the mind is not holding on for no reason. It is holding on because the unconscious has tied meaning to this image. And until that meaning is brought into the light, the image will remain. Think of it this way: when you dream at night and you wake up remembering the dream, do you say, "This dream is destiny"? Of course not. You know the dream is symbolic. You know it speaks in a language of images, not literal facts. But when you are awake and a person becomes the center of your thoughts, you forget this. You treat them as literal salvation. But the truth is, they are like a living dream, an image carrying a message from the depths of your soul. And here is something important. If you ignore this message, if you try to run from it, the unconscious does not give up. It pushes harder. It will send more thoughts, more feelings, even more dreams of this person, until you finally stop chasing them and start asking the real question. What do they represent? What part of me have they awakened? Because the unconscious has one goal: wholeness. Jung called this the process of individuation, the journey of becoming your complete self, of integrating all the parts you have lost. And the unconscious will use whatever it must to bring you closer to that goal. If it has to use desire, it will use desire. If it has to use obsession, it will use obsession. This is why certain people feel so magnetic. They are not just people, they are symbols of your unlived life. And until you claim that life as your own, the thoughts will return. Now consider this. How many times in your life have you experienced this pattern? Perhaps not with the same intensity, but with the same feeling. The sense that someone holds a piece of your soul, that you cannot rest until you have them. And then, when you finally did, the feeling faded. Why? Because the magic was never in them. It was in the projection. It was in the image of your own soul that you placed upon them. And when reality stripped that image away, when you saw them as they truly were, you felt empty again. That emptiness is not a punishment. It is a clue. It tells you that what you seek cannot be found in another person. It can only be found within yourself. This is why chasing these illusions never brings peace. Because peace comes only when you take back what you have given away, when you stop expecting someone else to carry the weight of your wholeness and start carrying it yourself. But this is hard, because it means facing the truth. It means asking questions that can feel uncomfortable. What am I longing for that I think they can give me? What do they have that I believe I lack? And what would it mean to find that within me? When you ask these questions with honesty, the grip begins to loosen. Not because you force it, not because you fight it, but because you no longer need the illusion. You have found the source. And here is the paradox. When you do this work, when you integrate what you have projected, love becomes possible. Real love, not obsession, not dependency, not the hunger to be completed, but love that sees clearly, that honors the other without needing them to carry the burden of your soul. The repetition, then, is not a curse. It is a teacher. It is your psyche knocking at the door, again and again, saying, "Wake up. Come home." And if you listen, if you answer that call, everything changes. The thoughts lose their power. The obsession dissolves, not because you pushed it away, but because it has done its job. It has led you back to yourself. Unfulfilled desires. So now you understand why the thoughts repeat. You understand that they are not random, that they are signals, messages from the unconscious asking to be heard. But what do you do with this knowledge? How do you stop chasing the image? How do you release someone who has taken hold of your mind? Not by force, not by pretending, but in a way that feels true, in a way that brings peace. The first step is to recognize the illusion for what it is. To see clearly that what you have been clinging to is not the person themselves, but a projection of your own soul. They became a canvas onto which you painted your unlived life, your lost desires, your hidden potential. And as long as you believe that the canvas is the treasure, you will suffer. Because the treasure was never on the canvas. It was in you all along. This recognition is not easy. Because the illusion feels real. The emotions are intense. The longing feels sacred, as if the universe itself placed this person in your path. And in a sense, it did, but not for the reason you think. Not so that you could lose yourself in them, but so that you could find yourself through them. So the question becomes, how do you reclaim what you have given away? How do you take back the power you have projected onto them? The answer lies in a simple but profound act, turning inward. Start with this. Bring their image to mind. See their face. Feel the emotions that rise as you think of them. And now, ask yourself, what is it about them that draws me so deeply? Is it their confidence, their freedom, their passion, their calmness? Whatever it is, name it. Speak it, even if only in your heart. And then, ask yourself the next question, the question that will change everything. Where does this live in me? Do not answer quickly. Sit with it. Let the silence speak. Because the truth is, it does live in you. It always has. You could not recognize it in them if it were not already part of your own soul. But perhaps you have buried it. Perhaps you were told, long ago, that this part of you was not acceptable. Perhaps you were taught to hide it, to fear it, to deny it. And so, like a seed in the dark, it has waited. And now, through this person, it calls to you again. This is the moment of reclaiming. This is the beginning of integration. When you stop saying, I need them to feel this way, and start saying, I can awaken this within myself. When you stop chasing the reflection and turn toward the source. If you long for their confidence, ask yourself, where have I silenced my own voice? Where have I lived small to make others comfortable? And what would it feel like to step into my own strength, here and now? If you long for their freedom, ask, where have I chained myself? What rules, what fears, what habits keep me from living fully? And what small act could I take today to taste the freedom I crave? If you long for their passion, ask, where have I grown numb? Where have I traded aliveness for safety? And how can I begin to breathe life back into the places that feel dead? Do you see? Every quality that draws you to them is a mirror of what you are meant to become. The longing is not punishment. It is guidance. It is the soul saying, wake up. This is yours. Take it back. But there is something else you must do. You must make peace with the shadow. Because often, what keeps us from reclaiming these qualities is fear. The fear that if we embrace them, we will be judged, rejected, or even destroyed. This fear is old. It comes from childhood, from the rules you learned before you even had words. The child in you believed, if I show this part of me, I will lose love. So the child buried it. And now, as an adult, you project it onto others because it still feels dangerous to hold it yourself. But you are not that child anymore. You are no longer at the mercy of those old fears. You can choose. You can choose to bring these parts home. To hold them, not as dangers, but as gifts. And when you do this, something incredible happens. The person you could not stop thinking about, the one who felt like an addiction, loses their power over you. Not because you forced yourself to forget, not because you numbed the feeling, but because you no longer need them to carry what is yours. You have taken it back. This is what Jung meant by individuation, the process of becoming whole. It is not about perfection. It is not about eliminating desire. It is about owning all of who you are, so that no one outside of you holds the keys to your soul. And when you live from this place, everything changes. You stop chasing. You stop clinging. You move through the world with a quiet strength, a quiet freedom. And love, real love, becomes possible. Because now, you can see the other person as they truly are, without illusion, without projection. You can love without chains. So, the next time you find yourself haunted by someone's image, do not ask, how do I get rid of these thoughts? Ask instead, what do they awaken in me? What have I lost that I now long for? And how can I begin to live that truth, here and now? Because that is the work. That is the path. And if you walk it, you will discover something that obsession could never give you, peace. And now, as we come to the end of this journey, I want you to pause for a moment. Breathe. Let the silence settle around you. Notice the stillness, because this is where understanding begins, not in noise, not in chasing, but in quiet truth. For the last 2 hours, we have explored something few people ever see. We have gone beneath the surface of longing, beneath the illusion of fate, into the deep architecture of the soul. And what have we found? That the people who haunt your mind are not there by accident. They are there because they carry something for you, a forgotten part of yourself, a hidden fragment of your own wholeness. Every thought that pulls you toward them Every image that lingers like smoke in the mind is a message. Come home. Return to what you have lost. And when you understand this, when you truly understand it, not as an idea, but as a living truth, you are no longer at war with yourself. You no longer need to run from the thoughts or drown in them. You can simply listen. So now, I want you to imagine something. Imagine the person who has lived in your mind for so long. See their face. Feel the pull you have felt so many times before. And now, instead of asking, why can't I forget them? Ask something different. Ask, what do they awaken in me? What part of me do they reflect? What treasure within myself have I given away? And when the answer comes, and it will, if you are patient, do not push it away. Hold it gently, like something sacred. Because it is sacred. It is a piece of your soul calling you back. Perhaps you will realize that what you longed for was freedom, or confidence, or depth, or passion. Perhaps you will realize that what you wanted in them was the permission to live as you truly are. And when you see that, you will understand the great secret. You do not need them to give you this. You can give it to yourself. This is the work. This is the journey. To stop chasing shadows and start reclaiming what is yours. To take back the pieces you have scattered across the faces of others and gather them into the wholeness of your being. And when you do this, something beautiful happens. The obsession fades, not because you forced it, not because you numbed yourself, but because you no longer need the illusion. You have found the source. You have returned to yourself. And from this place, love becomes something entirely different. No longer a desperate search for completion, but a meeting of two whole beings. No longer a projection of your unlived life, but a recognition of another soul, free, equal, and real. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." For so long, you may have believed that this person was your fate. But now you know the truth. They were never the destination. They were the doorway to everything you were meant to become. So as you sit here now, in this quiet space, ask yourself one last question. What is my soul asking of me? What have I hidden that longs to live again? And how will I honor that, starting now? Because this is where freedom begins, not in forgetting them, but in remembering yourself. And when you do, when you gather these scattered pieces and make them whole, you will walk through the world differently. Lighter, freer, no longer haunted by the faces of others, because you carry your own face within you. No longer chasing shadows, because you have stepped into the light of your own being. And perhaps one day, love will come again, not as obsession, not as hunger, but as a quiet miracle. Two souls meeting, not to complete each other, but to share the fullness they have each found within themselves. Until then, walk your path with courage. Listen to the whispers of your own depths. And remember, the person you could not stop thinking about was never the answer. They were the question. And the answer was always you. Take a deep breath now. Feel it move through your body, slow and steady. Let it ground you in this moment. You have traveled far, farther than most will ever go, not across miles, but into the hidden country of your own soul. And though this conversation ends, the real journey is just beginning. Walk it well. If this journey spoke to something deep within you, consider subscribing. Here, we explore the hidden architecture of the mind, the wisdom of Carl Jung, and the truths that can change how you see yourself and the world. Stay with us for more reflections like this, because your path to wholeness has only just begun.